Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff Mosher, Adam Caplan, and Adam, we have something to talk about today for the first time in more than a month, and that is an Eagles victory. And before we, do anything, I don't want to sit here and pull any muscles, patting myself on the back too much, because I know people don't like
hell of
that.
a call, though, man. Come on.
But, yeah, I got to say, man, pregame show and even in our podcast, I kept it the same. I predicted a 23-21 Eagles win. I got to do a better job. It was 24-21.
Well, so let's go back to that. I want to go back to Friday's show because some people pointed out some stuff, had some questions. So what I said was, look, I just didn't feel like, and you kind of said it as well, I just didn't trust the Eagles coaching staff to understand what it takes to win against a great defense. Now,
that's fair.
Yeah, no one could predict some of the things would work. Well, we knew it was coming. Greg Cosell, our good friend from NFL Films, outlined everything. He talked about the zone read. They ran it. He talked about RPOs. They ran it. He talked about inside zone. They ran it. Mm-hmm. Even Miles Sanders talked about it during the week and gave away the game plan, for Christ's sake.
And they still couldn't stop it.
What's that?
And they still couldn't stop it.
Exactly. So, look, but again, it's you run it, you look at what you think could work, and it works. So let's get back to you here. Let's go back to what you said in the Friday show.
Sure.
Why did you think then it would work? Now, you and I were texting each other during the game. Certainly right when it started, we were like, well, maybe we could start the show early. I wasn't expecting it to happen.
Right.
But why do you think this happened?
Well, I'll tell you I'll go back to what I said. I thought, and this is going to be kind of the underrated or under-discussed storyline. We'll get to it, but it's going to take a backseat to Jalen Hurts as I expect, and it should. But I did feel that Taysom Hill against the Eagles defense was going to be different for him because he had only played 3 games. One of them was the Denver game, and they had to start a practice squad wide receiver or quarterback. We all know. So I just threw that game out.
Yep.
The other 2, Atlanta Falcons, a bad defensive team. I said it on Friday's podcast. I said, come into the Linc, playing outdoors and playing against the defense that can get after you like the Eagles can up front, I thought was going to mitigate some of the damage that you had seen Taysom Hill do. I'm not that impressed with Taysom Hill as a quarterback. I think, much more as a movable piece. And then I just thought if the Eagles could get a little bit of a boost offensively, I predicted a trick play. I don't think we saw a couple of end rounds. We didn't see anything crazy, but they did move the ball well with Jalen Hurts, and that just helped kind of, took the pressure off the O-line, took the pressure off the defense, and obviously it just was the formula that the Eagles needed. And, I always am a big law of averages guy. Whenever you see a team that's
yes, you've been doing that every week,
games in a row versus lost a lot of games in a row, usually something happens there. The cosmos is even out. And so that's why I thought the Eagles would win this game. Am I going to pick them to win all of their next ones because of this? Very unlikely. Yeah. But I just felt the time was right.
Yeah, I was impressed with, and Doug Peterson alluded to it in his press conference on Sunday night. It wasn't just the run game, and by the way, they still passed it more than they ran it. I mean, people always get mixed with the run. No, they definitely they came out mixing it up, which is what you should do. But in the first half, they had 21 passes, 16 runs. But what Peterson gave credit to, and he should have, the defense was phenomenal. Their D-line, and you had brought it up on a pregame show. When you watch the Eagles, you look at their pressure numbers, and you go, okay, pretty good. Almost every game they get good pressure, but they generally don't cause turnovers. And when you watch them, you go, they're solid. They're not special. Well, this game they were special, Geoff. Would you not agree?
Oh, yeah. I thought that they brought a tremendous amount of pressure. I mean, we'll get to it. Josh Sweat played an unbelievable game. Javon Hargrave continues to make strides as he, now starts to live up to that contract and get comfortable in that defense. We highlighted that in the Sunday pregame show. And, folks, if you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend even going back and watching it. A lot of things
unbelievable
that went on in the game were discussed. And Trey Thomas did an unbelievable job on the grease board breaking down protection schemes as well, which was a little new wrinkle to
didn't even know that was coming. But so
I didn't either.
Question. Was that – did I see that in the rundown? I
didn't know that was coming until I showed up.
I loved it. No, I'm so glad he did it because what was great is that we were all getting – if you watched it, and you could watch the replay anytime, 24 hours a day on YouTube, well, particularly on our Twitter feed, because this repeats immediately after the show is over. But I learned so much. I've learned so many phrases and so much about the offensive line, folks. We've gotten an education from Trey Thomas. Greg Cosell as well. By the way, Greg told me several times he's learned so much from Trey this year, and it's such an education for all of us and all of our listeners.
So what's your aerial view of this win?
In terms of where they're at or the win?
Nah,
or
anything, just your big picture,
Okay. First of all, I'm glad you said that. First of all, anyone who thinks that the team has quit on Doug Peterson, throw that out the door. It's totally false. Totally incorrect. I know it's out there. It's nonsense. We've criticized Doug plenty this season, okay? His coaches, particularly in offense. We've spared no one. That's just the way we do it. But they were prepared. They did a great job of managing Hurts. Give him credit. I loved it. I loved it because Hurts, the 39-yard crosser to Rager. And I saw it on Twitter. People were like, "Where the hell was that with Wentz?" Come on.
I will say that was a different type of crossing. That was a double cross. We haven't seen that in a little bit. So
they rubbed him. They rubbed the defender in the middle. It's great. Yeah.
Clap hands over the middle like the old way that the guys used to do. Yeah.
And remember when I was saying these damn coaches, these college guys, could you start using some of those concepts, please?
Yeah.
Man, did they do a lot of pre-snap motion? A ton of it. Mm-hmm. And it worked. Look, you got to keep doing it. It's not going to work every play. They did it, and they did a good job with it, and I give them credit for it. Absolutely was impactful. The zone read, RPOs worked to a certain degree. Hurts with his legs was unbelievable. 18 for 106, 20, as long as 24. A bunch of first downs, unbelievably impactful. Made some good throws, there's no question about it. This is a game, once they got up, they ran the heck out of it, which they should do. That's what you're supposed to do. By analytics, you passed in the first half. They did. They passed more than they ran it. And you run to win. Now, what they can have, although Hurts did a great job of protecting the football, by the way, didn't take a sack, which is major first time all season for an Eagles quarterback. But he did have a fumble late, and that can't happen.
Absolutely. Ball security. Got to work on that. Although I believe it's the first time in a while the Eagles did not lose the turnover battle. So that's always a good thing because they produced more than they takeaways than they gave away. My aerial view, Adam, was this, and that what we both agreed that it was time for Carson Wentz to sit down, step aside, and give Jalen Hurts a shot because it could not continue to be that way. And I think this game, at least for 1 week, showed you how much just having a functional offense just helps you all around. I think it made the offensive line look better, took the pressure off them, have to hold blocks. It made the defense look better because they got some rest. They weren't always on the field. They weren't playing from behind all the time. So you saw the results of that. It allowed the coaches to kind of get a little creative because they were able to move the chains. And when you move the chains and have the other defense back a little bit, you can try a few things. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying about Carson Wentz earlier in the year, and I wound up being wrong. But what I said was if he could just stop turning the ball over and just be mediocre, the Eagles will be in games. Whether they win them at the end or not, we don't know, but at least give yourself a chance. And Jalen Hurts gave the entire team a chance by orchestrating a functional offense. It was not a great offense, but for his first time starting against the number one defense,
I'll take it anyway. And, Geoff, coaches always tell me over the years, they're like, the great thing about a rookie quarterback is Monday morning after his first start, because you get him in there. You've now got tape, because you didn't have preseason tape, Geoff. You didn't have that.
Right.
And this is his first week with more than a couple snaps with the ones in practice. So now you got the practice tape. You watch it later today, which is Monday morning, and you go over it together and you make your corrections. And Jalen Hurts will learn a lot from it. So will the coaches, and they'll go from there. The kid's a real hard worker. The word that I got is super competitive, hard worker. Mm-hmm. And I mean this as a comment. He's very cocky, confident, which is what you want. You want someone who believes in themselves. That I got that from a couple people. This is exactly what you want. Mm-hmm. And it'll mean a lot to him when he's going with Press Taylor and Peterson and Scangarello. Those are the three guys who are mainly working with him.
Yeah.
Right, mainly work with the quarterback. So that's the beauty of Monday morning. You take what you saw that didn't work, you like what you saw that worked, and you make your corrections, you move on to Arizona.
Yeah, no, unfortunately for Jalen, that kind of a discussion that normally happens inside the NovaCare will not be able to take place.
That's right.
He'll have to do that via Zoom for
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday.
Correct.
But you're right. I think he'll be like a sponge because he even said it in his post game presser. You get 24 hours and you move on. And he even mentioned how they left. I think he said money on the table. It's kind of the expression, you left meat on the bone. So that's good that he recognizes that there's areas to improve. So you would
Exactly.
expect that, by the way, from the son of a coach, which he is. So that hardworking, driven attitude that he has often talked to and used his parents as a reason why. So that's good. I want to get into injuries real quick before we start breaking
there's
down
so
the
many
game,
of them.
though,
Oh
because
my God.
I don't know why it is. I wrote this on the my 10 observations column on InsideTheBirds.com.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about playing the Saints, but it seems like whenever they play the Saints, their secondary is in shambles. You saw Avonte Maddox, Darius Slay, and Rodney McLeod all leave in the third quarter. That's 3/4 of your secondary. The last time they played the Saints, Adam, 2 years ago in New Orleans, is when we were introduced to the law firm of Bowsby, Sullivan, and Hawkins, if you remember that one, right?
Devontae Bosby, right,
Yeah.
who's still banging around the league somewhere.
I think the Packers.
Is that where he is now?
I think so. I know I saw his name
Okay.
at some point.
They could have used
Yeah.
Shannon Sullivan here,
Yeah,
but who's with the Packers. But yeah, it's bad. And when you lose all those players, Josh Sweat, I think is going to be okay, but he walked up the field holding the shoulder, but he did his post-game press conference, so that's a positive. Boy, was he is so good. We'll get the defense in a couple minutes, but yeah, it's a problem because remember Michael Jacquet did not play. He was hurt. Maddox is hurt.
LeBlanc is hurt.
LeBlanc. Jalen Mills, as we thought would happen, would have to move to corner. He did. Craig James is on IR. They're in major trouble. That the kid that they from Baylor they signed off their were added wherever they elevated him.
Was that Kevon Seymour?
Well, Kevon Seymour and Jameson Houston.
Oh, Jameson Houston, yeah.
Yeah, he had to play. Oy vey. It's
I know. That doesn't bode well, really, for obviously this is for later in the week, but they have to play an Arizona air raid offense.
4 wide.
Yeah.
4 wide. They're right up there. The second most 4 wide sets, I think, this season.
Second, really? I'm surprised. I thought that they were the leaders in that.
They weren't. Well, no. What happened is because they actually use tight ends now. Dan Arnold, he's a former college receiver. He's number 85. You'll see him. He scored some touchdowns. He's a super athlete for a playing tight end. But let's get back to it. So offensively, the Sanders touchdown run was similar to the Pittsburgh run this year, in that they had to block. They had to make sure it was blocked up. Did you notice the hold to the left where he hit it?
Yeah,
that was blocked up real well, and obviously, I have to see the all 22, but it looked like one of the Saint defenders went with the mesh point and it just didn't go the right way. Whatever, they hit it, and Miles is so explosive, he got it done. And also that goal line, that touchdown run that he had that sealed it. Do you notice he twisted his body to somehow get in? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Miles has shown, and unfortunately, because of how the offense has been this year, he hasn't had an opportunity to show it more. But I think he has become a much more patient yet decisive runner. He knows where the holes are going to be. He sets up his blocks well, which means he lets his offensive linemen get their blocks going. He doesn't try to outrun them to the spot. And then when he does that, he presses, as you've mentioned a lot, through the hole really easily. And he's explosive. And I couldn't help but feel a little bit, you're excited for what he's able to do. But I also wrote this, like, it feels like this year has been a little bit of a waste for him because the overall dysfunction of the offense has taken him out of the game. And he probably is their best weapon right now.
Yeah, I would agree. The lack of use has been. This is obviously on the coaches. It starts with them. We talked before about Wentz and his inaccuracy on the passes. Now, some people would say, "Listen, you still got to catch it, even if it's at your ankles." I get it. That's fair. Mm-hmm. But again, we need accuracy from the quarterback. That's the quarterback's job. But
right.
Just to finish off Hurts, I thought he managed the game well. Again, he didn't turn it over. Watching the tape, he'll see the plays that he left out in the field. There were some. And they'll make those corrections and move on.
Right.
I need to see Rager get the ball more. He's got to get the ball more. What else? I mean, average per play that he had in the game was very, very high, but he only touched the ball 3 times. That cannot happen.
Right. One thing I want to say about Hurts that won't show up in the box score is that I thought he showed a lot of composure down the stretch there. You know, New Orleans scores twice. Everybody's getting hurt.
Oh
It
boy.
feels like
Yeah.
this is going to be another Eagles
Yeah.
type of
Well,
loss.
You
The roof
texted me
caves
during the
in.
game. You're like, oh, well, I forget what exactly we said, but it made me laugh.
I said week 1 through 5 called. It wants its dysfunction and injuries back.
Right, exactly, right. It was fantastic, man.
Thank you. That was the lead to my the story that I wrote as
Awesome.
well. But, you know, then I talked about how they were able to persevere. But if you remember, so Josh Sweat gets the sack, right? And the forced fumble. Hargrave picks it up. Jalen Hurts gets the ball and the offense. And I thought one of the most significant plays of the game was he hit Greg Ward over the middle for, I think, like a 16-yarder. That
had
got
space and
yeah.
threw it right. It was, 14 yards. He whipped it right in there.
Right.
You got to do that.
I thought it was really important that they get a first down after getting the ball back and kind of move the chains there. And then
the sweat sack was so impactful.
Yes, it was.
That changed the game because, as you were saying, it looked bad. The injuries, and I know there's no crowd there, but it just as a player, it takes the wind out of your sails because you're dominating this great football team in New Orleans, and you don't have your crowd behind you. So it's really your coaches versus their coaches, your players versus their coaches, and you've done a phenomenal job here without any crowd to back you up, and the wind's out of you because you're folding this game up here. But I love and I've said it before, their D line's got to take over sometimes.
Yeah.
And the offense was bogging down, and great job by Josh Sweat, who's been a breakout player of the season. He's a really good football player.
No doubt about it.
One of the best backup ends in the National Football League. I know he can't play 50 snaps a game. We get it. But in the package they use him, he's terrific, and he's been quite the find for the Eagles out of that 18 draft.
No doubt about it. Another point I want to make on Hurts, but hold that thought for a second because I want to remind everybody to check out phlsportsnation.com. They are enhancing the fan experience with their coverage of all of the Philly teams, the Eagles, the Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, and, of course, the Union as well. For the fan, by the fan, that's their motto. You can even check them out on Twitter at PHL Sports Nation. And we'll pause real quick for another word from a great sponsor, including our friends at Sky Motor Cars. Okay, Jalen Hurts, I mentioned that I really thought that pass to Ward was significant. One other thing that I thought was significant from him, as far as something that we saw from him that we have not seen a whole lot of. His first touchdown was a very nice back shoulder throw to Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey, for much of his career in Chicago, was a back shoulder jump ball type of guy. He's been a good receiver up until this year for the Eagles, but they haven't necessarily back shouldered him a whole lot. I thought that was a good read by Hurts because he was getting blitzed and he saw the one-on-one. And at this point in Alshon's career, I think, you know, red zone is probably the only place where he's really going to help you. And that was, I just liked how precisely executed that play was.
It was great catch, falling back. Wasn't sure if he was going to catch it, but it was a great catch, good throw.
Yeah,
that's what you got to do. I was really impressed with the job that he did there. Offensively, when you could score like they were able to, look, 24 points is 24 points. I don't care how you get it done. Yeah. I understand they scored 17 points in the second quarter. It looked like they had a major lull in the third quarter, but they found a way to score 24 points. Again, I don't care how you do it. They'll make their corrections. Jake Elliott, another miss.
Yeah, I mean, it really should have been 27 points, and that's kind of a big deal for this team.
Plus, and when you miss field goals, man, that was 22 yards.
Yes, it was a chip shot.
I mean, it's unbelievable. How the hell how does this happen, man? Yeah, 22 left. Yeah, it was wide left. I mean, this can't happen, man.
Right.
That's bad because that also takes a win out of yourselves as a football team because you're doing so many good things here. Just a couple things though before we move to the defense. Did you notice that Watkins played over Hightower? That was one in terms of lineups. I know that Watkins didn't play very much, but that's just a little bit of change here. John Hightower's Greg Cosell. We asked him about Hightower, and boy, he was very critical. Greg gave some great stuff based on his tape study.
Yeah. So
make sure you listen to the replay of our pregame.
Yeah, no, I thought he was critical of the route running. It was nice because they even were. It's not like Watkins was just there. They actually got the ball in his hands on a pretty interesting play, right? That he came in motion and they flipped it to him. I think wasn't that him?
Yes. It was for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 yards. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it showed that they were, they weren't just lining him up and expecting him to catch a pass. They were getting the ball in his hands in a manufactured way, which is something you and I have been talking about. Zach Ertz, as we talk about the offense, look, he only had 8 yards on 2 catches. I'm surprised they didn't overturn the tiptoe catch along the sideline, because it looked like from one angle that both feet were in. But he did also have a nice block, although I think they called it offensive pass interference. But since they didn't call it, we'll call it a nice block on the Rager crossing route, correct? And
Correct.
Also on the Miles Sanders run, he had that second level block as well. So good for Zach.
Yeah, how about that? Goddard again led them in targets, which is what I expect. He should every game. He's a major mismatch. That's pretty much it. Did you notice Clement came in at the goal line? Unfortunately, that's the other thing I wanted to. That's a major negative, though, is the amount of penalties they had in this game. What happened was only 6 were accepted, but there were more penalties than that. There were some bad ones, man. They and I understand it. You could hear Gerald Moose Johnston talk about it. The inflection from Hurts' voice is different. That's something you have to get used to, and they're going to have to do it in a hurry in practice for some of the false starts. But they got to curb some of the penalties, man. Those can come back to bite you. Yeah,
I agree. And by the way, that's been recurring for several weeks now. So it has bitten them, because this is the first time they've won in a while. But I agree with you. If they don't fix this, then good luck trying to put together a win streak, because the penalties are inexcusable that they're having right now. To put a bow kind of on the offense and Jalen Hurts, I mean, he ran 18 times at him for 106 yards. I think we all expected a lot of running in his debut.
Boy, doubled my number. I said 8 to 10. My buddy John Hansen from fantasypoints.com. Did he say 12 to 4? He had more than I did. It's so hard to predict, but I give the Eagles coaches credit. They knew what he can do coming into the game as a dual threat, throwing and running. They went back clearly. It was on. If you read Greg Cosell's scouting report, okay, it was like Greg wrote the game plan for them. Just about everything he had in his notes, they were phenomenal. And by the way, Greg talked about it in our Inside the Birds television piece that's on YouTube, which we taped before the game. It's up there. A lot of people have seen it. It's all about skill set, and they'll give him more in the pass game as we go along here. The kid's got an arm. I was encouraged, man. Very encouraged. But I don't know about you, but I was very encouraged with what I saw from him.
I'm encouraged, again, from the poise, the leadership, the overcoming adversity, made some nice throws. 18 runs is not going to happen. 18 for 105 is not going to happen week after week after week. And if it does, you're not going to win a lot of games. So
we got to look. Eventually, he's going to throw the ball more. We get it. Again, it's here's what he did, here's what he missed. They'll point it out to him. That's coaching. And now you go against a different defense in Arizona, which brings its own set. They run a 34. They bring their own set of challenges. And now the offensive line, and I understand Hurts did a good job of not taking sacks and moving. Boy, when you have a quarterback that can move and it doesn't hold on the ball, he was so decisive, by the way. It's another thing. If you're going to run, go. Don't hesitate. He went. He saw it. See, he looked, and I noticed this because I tape it and I have my DVR, so it has slow motion on Verizon Fios. So they have great slow motion. He didn't hesitate, man. He said, okay, I see the spacing. There's a lot of space here. I'm going. Do that, man. You got to be decisive. That's part of understanding as a young quarterback what you can get away with and the times you got to throw and or tuck it down. He did a good job of that.
Yes, he did. He absolutely did. So we got the running backs. We talked about the wide receivers, tight ends, Jalen Hurts, of course, offensive line a little bit. Didn't hear Jordan Mailata's name a lot, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So I assume, once again, he did well. I would like to hope that this is going to be your offensive line going forward for the next 3 or 4 games.
Who's left?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I hope they stay healthy.
Yeah, right. That's it. Yeah. They can't really
you would
make
like to see
changes.
that.
And you need continuity, as Trey Thomas has talked about. On Inside the Birds, on our pregame show and on his shows.
Yep.
Continuity is king because it's all about communication, and you got to have that. So let's hope that they keep doing that. This is great practical experience for Mailata, man. You cannot bank this enough.
Right.
That it gets against this D line, which is phenomenal. They now you notice in the third quarter when the Saints D line took over, I don't know about you, but I was like, because they're starting to get pressure. They're making They're making Hurts move. They're not moving the football. They better start moving.
It's a really good D line though. So you have to expect that they're going to make their mark at some point. But in general, I thought the Eagles' offensive line held up pretty well. There were times that Jalen did drop back to throw, Jalen Hurts, and had time to throw, and it was good. Yeah, no, I liked how the offensive line played. I'm going to be real nitpicky here as we wrap it up on offense. Okay. The first drive ended with, if you remember, with Doug going for it on 4th and 1, and it was a handoff to Miles Sanders, and he got just absolutely swallowed up by, I think it was Cam Jordan and Malcolm Jenkins. Didn't love that play call. I thought if you're going to do that, give a run pass option. Make the defense think a little bit, or give Hurts the ability to take it out of his belly if he saw that, and he didn't. So I thought that was not a great call.
Yeah, I agree. No, you said it well. That's exactly what I was thinking for the time, and I replayed it. I'm like, well, why didn't they? It's money quarterback stuff, but I just didn't like the play call. That kind of stuff I don't criticize very much. It's generally from a macro standpoint, from a whole game view.
Right.
When I've been watching these coaches call the plays, and it's not just the plays in the game. It's the structure of the offense. And if you listen to if you watch our folks, I really highly recommend you hearing Trey Thomas and Greg Cosell break down the Eagles offense going to the Saints game on our pregame show. It was, Geoff, no one is breaking it down like these two guys are. I mean,
it's fantastic.
Unbelievable. I wish what I need to do is I need to watch it on Tuesdays, my slowest day for work. I need to take notes because they predicted so much stuff that might happen and stuff to look at. And Greg's talking about, this is what I've seen from them as play callers.
Yeah.
Only go by, he has no bias. He goes, this is what I see. They did a phenomenal job. It was such a learning experience from both guys.
Yeah, too bad they couldn't predict the right score and outcome like I did. Yeah, that's okay. That's all right.
No, hey, listen, the three of you guys, you got the game correct. In fact, in the standings now, are you a game back of us?
I'm still one game back. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna have to be contrarian.
Well, this Cardinals game, I don't know.
We'll get into that. The last thing I'll be nitpicky about is the quarterback sneak that they didn't get on 4th and 1. To me, I thought Jalen rushed. It's like he went right into Kelsey's ass instead of kind of tucking the ball and putting his head down. He seemed like he went body forward instead of getting the ball first and then going. It was just an awkward exchange there, and that's just nitpicky. But I'm sure that they'll work on it. I thought a couple of snaps were high again, too. Did you notice that? Where it looked like Jalen had to reach toward his face for a couple of snaps?
Yes.
Yeah, he and Kelsey got to work on that.
I know this is probably not going to be popular, but I've seen the Packers do this repeatedly on fourth and short, 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
They'll throw it to Robert Tonyan. He'll just sprint right option. It's like a pop pass. It's the easiest pass to complete.
Yep.
It's just Rodgers always seems to get it. It seems to always to be to Tonyan, 85 of the Packers. He did it again against Detroit on Sunday. Did it to the Eagles. They do it a lot. I would have loved to have seen a pass there to Goddard or particularly Ertz, who's Mr. Clutch. So just something we
I saw that the Chiefs did it to Miami in the 4th quarter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It was a backbreaker. Yep.
It was a backbreaker. All right. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use that promo code ITB to get all of your sign-up bonuses. That's right. The promo code is ITB to get all of your sign-up bonuses at the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. All right, let's talk about the defense. I'm excited because, the defensive line has really we've criticized the defense, first of all, for not playing a game from start to finish, right? And
they were
only playing in spurts. Yeah. But I think on Friday we also said, to be fair, they're on the field a lot, and they're always from behind, so it puts a little bit more pressure on them. But this is like how you draw it up for them. Now, the third quarter, guys get hurt. The Saints strike big plays. It happens. But I do think the way they won this game was by putting a lot of pressure on Taysom Hill.
Sweat and Hargrave and Cox. Let me throw him in there. They were men. I mean, they were Hargrave. I see why in your report in the spring, you had heard that they were going to target him.
Mm-hmm.
Now I see why. The last 2 or 3 weeks, he was a fantastic pass rusher in college, and man, he's bringing it lately. Let's not forget. Pectoral strain kept him out for 4 to 6 weeks. Then he had the hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just not going to be right the first half of the season. You're learning also a new scheme on the run here. You with no off season, no preseason, training camp. You can't expect this to look good.
Yeah.
And
No, I think he's really coming along there. And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
with him and Malik and Fletch, they're really giving
Oh
teams
boy,
problems in the
oh
center.
boy, absolutely, man.
And
It was
that's how they
something to
have to
see.
do it.
Yeah, the energy from Josh Sweat is such a great story of development. I said this to someone with the Eagles I ran into at the scrimmage over the
Mm-hmm.
summer,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Hey, is this ridiculous? I know he's not nearly as good, so please don't take this the wrong way. But from a body type and ability, what do you think of him as a junior case?" Clowney, and the guy said yes, and he said length, yes, and explosion. Because obviously he goes, let's not talk about who the better player is. It's not fair because Sweat has just been everything they could have hoped for
Mm-hmm.
and more. Just because you never knew. Because the reason why some teams took him off the draft board is a lot of teams had questions whether it'd be a one or two contract player. Well, he's
Right.
definitely, barring a significant injury, is going to be a 2 contract player at a minimum. So this kid's only gotten better. After year one, when he really didn't play very much because of his because not only knee, he also had another injury. But he's been really terrific. Good job by their scouting department. Who I know Harry Roseman has control, but whoever had that area did a great job. And Hargrave, I know people were criticizing for the contract. Look, again, we just outlined it. He just wasn't healthy. Now he's healthy.
Mm-hmm. He also had to learn the new, the new
right,
techniques we talked
yes,
about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 3 quarterback hurries, 2 sacks, and good run plays.
Right.
Fumble recovery. He's getting better against the run. He's just a really good football player, and they've clearly scouted him correctly. It's just he's only going to get better as he gets used to it. Fletcher Cox showed up, made some impactful plays. So their D line, man, you can't say they won the game for him, but they did at points take over.
Yeah, and they needed to. That's the strength of the defense, and you needed that to happen. Taysom, they made Taysom Hill. He's weird, man. Do you notice he seems to, like, a couple times he'll, like, almost crouch and brace himself before a throw? He's got, like, it's not a hitch. It's almost like a brace.
He does get low. It's fun.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to get pad level or something before he makes a throw.
But please do not let the numbers fool you. He didn't like 28
I didn't
to
think
38
he was anything special. Yeah.
The joke is like this is why passer rating you got to be careful. This tells you all you need to know about passer rating. 28 for 38, 291, 2 touchdowns, a pick, obviously a fumble, but 102 passer rating. If you just watched the game, you would have said 65 passer rating. Mm-hmm. He didn't play anywhere near 102.
No.
So you could take your passer rating and throw it up in the air.
And I
don't believe in passer rating. I know NFL people I'm close to believe in it, but you could shoot holes in anything you want. But this one bothers me because he did not play well at all, and the Eagles had a lot to do with it.
I don't hate passer rating as much as I hate completion percentage. I think that's a stat that
you have to know you have to know how many passes were how many challenging passes did the guy make? Like Nick Foles in 2013, folks, it was a gimmick offense. I get it. 27-2. Hey, it is what it is.
Right.
But if you talk to NFL people, they will tell you they didn't buy into that season. They didn't think. I had one guy. I'm sitting next to a pro personnel guy in 2013 in the press box. Mm-hmm. The guy just buried Nick Foles, and I told the guys, like, I said, dude, I don't know you very well, but you're out of your mind. But the problem is I kept hearing this from other people. I'm like, okay, these people know more than I.
Right.
But the guy had a good season, but as you just said, it's so true.
Yeah.
You got to grade passes.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up Nick Foles. I was thinking more Sam Bradford as someone who was always going to throw that beautiful 5-yard to 10-yard pass and have a high completion percentage, but not win a whole lot of games.
Right, and that's and as you well know, NFL people were gaga over the way he throws.
Yeah,
but they forgot about how poorly he sees the rush, and I don't know how the hell we got in Sam Bradford, but I get it. When you look at the defense, if you're just grading them, like you said, you're absolutely right. You can't. It's impossible to pitch a shutout. You just can't.
Right.
They did it for a while, but I give them credit because when they had to get the job done, they got it done.
It did feel, to be fair, that the way things were going when they had to play 3 different starters in the secondary, and I include Mills a corner in that if this game was 1 quarter longer, the Eagles might not have been able to win it because.
Oh yeah, if it went into overtime, great point. Another great point. Yeah, you're absolutely right because there were, quite frankly, they probably would have had to play safeties at corner because they didn't have anybody left.
Or Coleman on the outside, and he gives up so much height and size to a guy like Mike Thomas.
Kayvon Wallace is out there, you noticed.
Yeah,
Epps, and we don't know yet. We'll start getting a better picture for our Wednesday morning show. We'll pretty much know who's on the way up to be able to play and who's not, and some of these might be serious. It's unfortunate.
Right.
It's too bad.
We know this Eagles defense, Adam. It's safe to say if they're going to make a little mini run here and do something different and maybe even special here over the next 4 games, it's going to be because of the pass rush. That's how it's going to have to be.
4-man pressure. Boy, they 4-man pressured to death, man. The wide nine was alive and well on Sunday.
It certainly was. All right, so that'll wrap it up for the defense. As always, Adam, we got to talk about our friends from Manscaped. If you're looking for the ultimate stocking stuffers for this holiday season, look no further because our sponsors, Manscaped, have the tools to make you win this year's stocking stuffer or white elephant competition. What is a white elephant competition? Do you know?
What the hell?
I asked Trey, and he doesn't know what that is either. You know, Trey is the king of the Manscaped read, but even he doesn't know. All right, if everybody knows what it is, reach out to us on Twitter at Inside Birds and let us know what a white elephant competition is, and keep it clean in case it's not. Manscaped is the only brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene products, and of course, they just released their products across Europe, Canada, and Australia. Right? I mean, you've heard me talk about a few of their products, and these things are prime stocking stuffers, like the Crop Preserver. It's a ball deodorant. The name speaks for itself. The Crop Reviver Ball Toner. It's a spray-on toner that gives your balls a little slice of heaven with their aloe vera and hazel extracts. You got the Crop Cleanser Body Wash, a full body wash that you can also use on your hair. The Crop Mop Ball Wipes, because you never know when an opportunity strikes. You got to be prepared. The Foot Duster Foot Deodorant, which keeps your stinky feet smelling fresh. And they've got the Shears 2.0 Luxury 4-piece Nail Kit. They've got the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer, which has the proprietary skin-safe technology. Get rid of those nasty nose hairs. And don't forget about the best trimmer for your butt, balls, and body, and that's the Lawnmower 3.0 with the replaceable ceramic blade and advanced skin-safe technology. Helps reduce your grooming accidents. You want to have happy holidays, not painful holidays, all right? These formulations are all vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, and paraben-free, so you know the products are legit. Holiday season, folks, get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Use that code ITB. And by the way, a happy Hanukkah for everybody out there. I know that started this past week. And whether this is your partner, your dad, your brother, or a friend, get them something they'll actually use, and it almost surely will get you a laugh. And everybody likes to have a holly jolly Christmas. So you can get a nice little laugh with these gifts that fit very well in the stockings. 20% off, free shipping at manscaped.com using code ITB. Be the ballsiest gift giver this year with Manscaped. Right, Adam, your Manscaped man of the game going into the game was Cameron Jordan.
They negated him. They did a good job against him.
They neutralized him fairly well. Yep. Who is your Manscaped man of the game after the outcome?
Got to be number 2, Jalen Hurts. Got to be. Didn't turn it over. Managed the game well. That's all you could ask for on a short week for him. His first real work with the ones. He did a solid job, man. I mean, I could have said the D-line. You could take either one. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Mm-hmm. I would go with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, the guy accounted for 273 yards.
There you go.
That's pretty good there. That's about 35%, I think, of the team's offense, maybe even a little bit more than that. I forgot what the total yards for the team was, but that is definitely excellent. If I were to pick a number 2, you said D-line, but Miles Sanders, man, 2 touchdowns, 115 yards, 82-yard touchdown. He is the only player. We talk about how they criminally neglect him, and yet he's still the only player in the NFL with 3 touchdown runs over 74 yards, over 70 yards this year. Isn't that amazing? It's unbelievable.
He's special. It just when they figure it out next year about how to use this guy correctly, it's one of my 20 pet peeves. I don't have just 5 or 10. I've got about 20 of them with this coaching staff. That's one of them. That's obviously top 3. They really got to get. He's so unique. Really is really good football player.
By the way, I got a great stat for you. I was researching some stats like the ones I just gave, but my buddy Dave Zangaro at NBC Sports Philadelphia tweeted this one out. From 1994 to 2019, which is 25 years, the Eagles had a total of 4 rushing plays of 70 or more yards. Miles Sanders has 3 since October. I mean, 25 years. They're gone. They only had 4. He has 3.
I know people are going to say, oh, well, how about all those other ones? He only had so much per carry. Folks, he had a lot of short yardage carries, too.
Yeah, so I don't think people are complaining about Miles anymore.
No. What happens is people nitpick, and they'll go, well, those are luck. They all count, okay? They all count. I just always laugh when people try to minimize success.
Right. Are Derrick Henry's really long runs bad because they are
right? And people try to justify. It is what it is. It's a hell of a win for this football team. Eagle fans should be unbelievably pleased. By the way, later tonight we're on the Fanatic. Jeff and I are on our Inside the Birds radio,
6 to 8 p.m.
Correct. We do take calls. We love the calls from out of state, which are fun. They're clearly listeners. Jai TV, our pod. We appreciate it. And then Wednesday we're back. Wednesday morning we'll have the injury updates. We'll start turning the page to Arizona. They had a pretty damn impressive win at the Giants if the Giants had their win. And then obviously Washington absolutely manhandled San Francisco with the 2 pick sixes.
Yeah. By the way, that's another Mosher prediction that might be coming true.
Yeah, you did pick Washington. Yeah, for sure, before the season started.
So we'll see, because the Eagles still have to play Washington, and they still have to play Dallas, which also got off the schneid, got a win against the Bengals. So the division is wide open, right, with Washington at 6 wins, the Giants at 5, the Eagles and Cowboys tied at 4, but because of the tiebreaker, the Eagles are in 3rd place. So it's coming down to a photo finish. We'll see what happens. You're right. We'll be back Wednesday with our tape review. And again, Monday night, Fanatic, 6 to 8 p.m. Give us a call. The number there is 610-632-0975. And that's going to do it for this edition of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles intel. Thanks to our producer, Hunter Brody. Check him out on YouTube. Sports Talk with Broads is the name of his YouTube channel. And also look for him on Twitter, @Broads81. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the Birds.